This video is going to show you how to monitor student progress comparing the pacing guide and prepare you for the Zoom meeting for students. So our pacing guides we put for fuel ed classes into Schoology so students had access to them. So I have Schoology opened. If we click on groups at the top, we have a Carlisle Virtual Academy group that we'll click on. Students were given this information before the start of the school year. They're going to click over here on the left, resources. And the first link, I made them a video explaining what to do with the pacing guides. So hopefully most of them have watched that. And if you scroll down, you will see the categories of pacing guides. So within them are the pacing guides. So we're going to scroll down to social studies. And we are going to open up, I think Sarah. We were looking at Sarah's class earlier. She's in Contemporary World Issues. So we're going to open up the Contemporary World Issues pacing guide. They are Excel documents that you can customize, which I've already done that for all of our fuel ed classes that match our school calendar. So when it pulls up, you see this screen. Our start date, the first day of school, all of our holidays in there for the year, and then the end date is January 14th for our fuel education classes. We end classes almost a week before the marking period ends because it takes sometimes 5 business days to get grades. So we do end class earlier than what traditional students have for a marking period. We want to click on down here, part 2, the middle tab on the Excel sheet. I would probably, it's going to be more work up front, but it's going to be time saving for your check-ins, but that's up to you. I would recommend possibly making folders for every student in your Drive and saving these and then customizing them. So I recommend it to students to do the same thing. And then as they complete assignments, they can start highlighting that they've completed that. So this was work that was due on the 8th, the first day of school. Then here we are today on the 9th. And then they can just keep marking off as they complete work so they know exactly where they're at. This is how you know if a student is on track. So if we go back to Sarah's account, who we were looking at earlier in Contemporary World Issues, I can only see on my screen, because I'm not Zoom meeting Sarah, or I don't have her next to me, that she completed the 1.02 quiz. I really don't know by looking at this if she skipped over the assignments above that. We hope not, but that's a possibility. The students can skip around in class. They don't have to go in sequential order. They're not forced to do that. Obviously, we highly recommend that. But students can skip around. Probably what's happening here is it was a discussion that needs to be graded by a teacher. Here's a project, again, something that has to be graded by a teacher. And here's a quiz. Maybe there were some questions, again, had to be hand graded, so there's not grades there yet. So she did on the first day of school up to the morning of 9/11 for that class. So if we go back here to our pacing guide, lost it, too many screens up. If we go back here to the pacing guide, right here is that assignment, the morning of 9/11. So she actually turned in already the assignment that's due tomorrow. And again, that screen that we were looking at was 1 day behind schedule. So she's already ahead of schedule. But but we just don't have grades for the discussion and the other quiz that went along with that. So it would be very helpful to download these, and you could mark on your end exactly what has been completed, and it might make your progress check-ins faster and easier as you meet with students every other week. Here's an example of an email. So I just use this template. You would customize this with courses over here. The second column you would customize whether it was a fuel ed class or a Schoology class. The column here I just highlight if they are on track or if they're ahead of schedule, just so a parent looking at this progress report can easily see where the student is at. And then comments over here, I just have included a couple examples of what I would put in my comments. You know, some tips. So they're kind of all over the place as far as regrouping and going back or looking ahead, or just simply perfect, you're right where you need to be, keep going. And then finally, the last column is the grade column. For Schoology classes, this needs to be really detailed for fuel education because we are the liaison between fuel education teachers, our outside vendor, and our district. The parents and the students don't have any grades for these classes in Power School. So really, an administrator, a counselor, a parent who's not utilizing their parent accounts have no clue what the students' grades are because there's no information in Power School. So that's why these reports are really helpful, and you want to keep your progress reports saved in your emails. For Schoology, you know, that information's in Power School, and we all in-house have access to that. So you can really just touch on that and put the current grade that you see in Power School in that grade column. You can just simply say check Power School and Schoology for details, or you know, if you kind of have an idea of how classes run, assignments are due every Monday, or hey, there's a big project coming up, you know, that just comes about in the conversation of your progress check-in, you can put that in there as well. These Schoology classes do not have to be anywhere as detailed as the fuel education ones. I have the timeline in there as far as the end of the semester, and then you're going to fill in your information with the email address and your extension number at the bottom.